Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards, coming at you live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios on the campus of WYAB 103.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at Save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Except at Rumble, it's at Clay Edwards Show. Of course, you can find all of these links by simply going to clayedwardsshow.com and just click the social tab at the top, and it's got the links to everything that we do. You also have the option to go listen live. I have a direct link to the WYAB live stream there as well. And, of course, you can watch it live as you're doing now if you're watching online. You know how to do it. We make it easy to find. We take the product to the people. We don't expect the people to come to the product here on the Clay Edwards Show. And, as always, the podcast, the audio-only version, will be uploaded to Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, etc. Wherever you download podcasts, stream music, or even listen to audiobooks. That's right, we're on Audible as well. Just search Clay Edwards Show, and you will find it all there. No commercials. We leave the live reads in, but there's no commercials. So no commercial breaks, no commercials. It takes a 2-hour show and turns it into about an hour and a half, roughly. All right. We got all that out of the way. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. The Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. And, of course, if you're watching on the live stream, you can comment there if you have anything you want to get off your chest. And we will try to get to the comments here after the first segment. A lot going on this weekend. Your boy worked, definitely worked, but we set up a booth at the 38th Annual Mississippi Wildlife Extravaganza. First time I've ever worked a big expo like that as myself, so to say. I have done that for other companies and whatnot in the past. A long time ago, my mom was in the food business, and she had to work a lot of food shows, trade shows, stuff like that, and I would always help with that some. I was even the Blue Bunny one time for Blue Bunny ice cream when I was a kid, probably 12, 13 years old, walked around in the big Blue Bunny suit. Maybe I was a little older than that, maybe 14 or 15. I can't remember. Anyway, that was fun. That was hot. So I saw a guy walking around in a costume at the thing over the weekend. I just thought to myself how hot it must be in that deal, in that costume. Miserable. I got a picture with him. What's the guy's name that looks like Bigfoot off Star Wars? He was in one of those costumes. He got a picture with the FAFO championship. But, man, anyway, I say all that to say it was really cool getting to meet everybody. Met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Clay Edwards Show listeners, WYAB listeners, people that follow me on TikTok. That's always cool. You always just think it's young folks on TikTok. I get these senior citizens come by. Man, I like your show. I'm like, well, thank you. I watch you on TikTok. I'm like, well, that's not really the show. Those are just videos. But whatever you want to call it. It's a show for sure. It's a poop show sometimes. But it's a show for show. A show for show. So you just never know who's watching where, man. Met a bunch of young folks. It always blows my mind what a huge audience this show has as far as the demographics. Because we came from social media. The show rose from social media and not being afraid to take advantage of that platform and those platforms. And then we took radio, which conservative talk radio, let's be honest, it skews older, Gen X and above, Gen X, boomer. It skews older. There are a lot of young listeners too and people who tune in. And I think COVID woke a lot of people up to wanting to get information and wanting to hear what they weren't hearing in the mainstream, the lame stream. Safe and effective. Safe and effective. 6 feet apart. Insurrection. I could go on and on. All the buzzwords. They wanted to hear something different, so it gave WYAB and other platforms similar to WYAB. There's not another one like this in the state. But it gave platforms like this and the hosts of shows on these platforms an opportunity to shine outside of our normal audiences. It created movements like Moms for Liberty. Woke up a bunch of wine moms and got them active. So COVID was the worst thing to ever happen to Democrats. And it was of their own makings. Interesting how that works. Over the weekend, but anyway, kind of ending with this, I thank you to everybody who came out, took a lot of pictures, sold a lot of shirts and caps. You can swing by the website and get yours today. If you pre-ordered one and hadn't got it yet, I did not get it all in my possession until Thursday night. Went straight into the extravaganza weekend. I've got a lot of it bagged and ready to ship today. It will get shipped today, what is in stock, and we will reconcile anything that's not. But with that said, you can swing over to the website and get you one of these hats. The hats were super popular, as we thought they would be. But buyfafo.com. All right, so Sunday morning I woke up to some really, really bad news. I was sitting there drinking my coffee, getting ready to go to the extravaganza for day 3. And, I got that notification around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, something like that, maybe a little later, that there had been a tragic four-wheeler accident down in Jackson, where four-wheeler versus vehicle. And a fella died. Now, I don't know the fella that died. I do know the fella that was driving the four-wheeler, who is in critical condition at the hospital now. He's a volunteer fireman here locally. He was a security guard at Pops, normally worked at the Pops in Canton. But they had him down at the one in Jackson for whatever reason. And it was around 4 in the morning. Not sure what time the accident actually happened, but I guess the call came in around 4. But anyway, they had decided to ride the four-wheeler, the security guard four-wheeler, just a block down the road from Pops to that truck stop right there, the Pilot. I guess, that's the Pilot, right? Right there by the Nissan dealership. And not sure what happened. Somehow or another, they get involved in a multi-vehicle crash there. One fella dies. The other is seriously injured. I mean, I've seen pictures of him in the hospital. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, he ain't in the clear. He is not in the clear. His brother-in-law was on this show last week with Gateway Rescue Mission, Bradley Hancock. His wife, Jessica Mizell, is the sister of the fellow that's hurt. And Jessica used to work for me, and they've turned their lives around and just doing wonderful things in the recovery community. And her brother's a good dude. His first name eludes me. His last name's Counts. Just good people that made a bad decision to ride a four-wheeler on the city streets of Jackson at any time of the day, much less 4 a.m. at night or in the morning. And people, of course, because I posted about it and I speak truth and I say the things that other people are thinking but feel like they can't say. JPD had a quote in the story from WLBT, it's just, they sent it out to everybody. It was WLBT's story I saw first. No, you know what? Actually, it was WJTV's story I saw first. Anyway, it doesn't matter who it was. The quote went out everywhere. And they said, it's unclear what caused the accident. Well, it ain't unclear what caused the accident. They were on a four-wheeler on the streets of Jackson, Mississippi at 4 in the morning. That's what caused the accident. It don't matter if somebody ran a stop sign, ran a red light, whatever. They're in an ATV in one of the most dangerous intersection areas in town. At 4 in the morning, if you're out in that area, unless you're just somebody that happens to be passing through the interstate on 20 there, and you stop at Pilot, unbeknownst of just how dangerous that area is. And you're just getting some gas and some snacks or whatever, and you just don't really realize that you were in the murder capital of America. Anybody out in that area is either drunk, high, Mad About covers it, drunk or high, leaving a bar, whatever, running dope. So they get hit by one vehicle. So they get hit by two vehicles somehow or another. One leaves the scene of the accident. And, they're, of course, either drunk, high, in a stolen vehicle, got warrants, or riding dirty. Probably some combination of three or more of those. They leave the scene. The other vehicle stays. Good on them. Good on them for staying. So, just because the other person left the scene doesn't mean it was their fault necessarily. But it means that they were probably going to go to jail if they got their ID ran, or they ran the tag of the vehicle and realized it was stolen, or they searched the vehicle and realized they were riding dirty. Whatever the case may be. When you leave the scene of an accident, you're guilty of all of it. So, my point being, that's why you don't ride four-wheelers on the streets of Jackson. It's been something I've ranted and raved about since I started the Save Jackson page, long before I ever did a podcast, before I was ever on the radio, ever did any live streams. All these black kids run up and down the streets on these little dirt bike four-wheeler gangs all throughout Jackson. On the main streets, Highway 80, downtown Jackson. All these places. I'm like, man, somebody's going to get killed. They're going to come over a hill. Some idiot is going to run through them like a bowling ball going through bowling pins one day. It's just dangerous. I mean, I hate to sound like the boomer here, but it's dangerous. It's legitimately dangerous to be on these streets, on these ATVs. People in Jackson can't drive, for one thing. They're usually drunk, high, not paying attention. Not all of them, obviously, but the ones out at 4 a.m. around Pops around the corner are. And this is what happens. Stay off the streets on four-wheelers. Now, some guy's life has changed forever. He's got a head injury. One guy's dead, and their family's going to have to deal with that. God rest his soul. I feel extremely bad for these people. I'm not trying to belittle them, talk bad about them by no means. But stay off the streets if you're on a four-wheeler. Just a routine little store run, probably get a Red Bull or something, costs them their lives or change one life forever. It can happen that quick. I let the family know if, they try to raise some money, if he needs to raise some money. I don't know what the insurance situation is, but we'll gladly help when we can. But let this be a lesson if you're out there listening. Man, be careful. And then, damn, if you insist on doing it, put a helmet on. And just think of all the different ways this went wrong that were avoidable. Now, the picture I saw of the four-wheeler wrecked, it was upside down in the middle of the intersection there on Gallatin Street. Now, that don't mean it didn't get hit and thrown there from somewhere else. But from the looks of the photo, they were riding in the middle of the road. Saying, guys, don't do that. Going to work and maybe making $100, $150 a Pops around the corner. Change your life forever and end one life. You got to be smarter than that, guys. All right, let's take our first break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Ripping and roaring off on a Monday here on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide on all the social media platforms at Save JXN. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, live here on WYAB 103.9. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Martin's Downtown and Martin's Livingston, as well as the Martin's Market at Livingston. I swung by this morning. I couldn't sleep. Woke up around 4:30, which is really about my normal wake-up time, but I was trying to push it to about 5:30 this morning just because I had a long weekend on my feet. So I got out here. I was like, well, I'm not ready to go sit in the radio station yet. So I rode on down to the Livingston location of Martin's, and because they open at 6 a.m. Anyhow, I got me a sausage and biscuit. I don't normally eat breakfast, but they got fresh smoked sausage and biscuits there, links, patties, and Southern-style chicken biscuits fried. They also sell, and maybe I knew this, maybe I didn't, whatever. I know it now because I'm holding it in my hand. They sell Martin's favorites, fan favorites. I don't want to say world famous. I know everybody says that, but these are very, very popular. Martin's does pork skins and queso at their locations inside the restaurants, and they're extremely one of their most popular appetizers. So instead of chips and queso, you do pork skins and queso. And my goodness, if you never had pork skins and queso, try it if you're at Martin's as an appetizer, especially during football season, watching a game, whatever. But they sell the pork skins that they make there fresh on site, and they have them in these big bags, big air-sealed, vacuum-tight bags. Well, they're not vacuum-tight because they're not sealed completely. It would crush them, but it's airtight. And I got the barbecue flavored. It's only $4.99 for a big old bag of these things. You probably can't buy a bag of some store-bought brand for that. I opened them up. They were as fresh as you would get them in the restaurant. Other than just being hot, fresh out the fryer, they're as fresh tasting as you can imagine. So if you like pork skins, say if you like pork skins, swing by Martin's Market at Livingston and get you a bag to go to have to snack on. They may sell it at the downtown restaurant too. I'm not sure. Don't see why they wouldn't. But anyway, they for sure got them at the gas station, which is attached to Martin's Livingston. And man, they're good. And did you know, my keto folks out there, that pork skins have 0 carbs. So if you're trying to lose some weight, looking for a good healthy snack that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it or carbs, pork skins have 0 carbs. Now, if they got barbecue flavor like the ones I have, if the seasoning they used has sugar in it, the rub, it's going to have some carbs. But the ones without the barbecue rub definitely don't. So just a little FYI there. Swing by, grab you a bag of pork skins, fill up with gas, get lunch. Today's Blue Plate special at both locations is fried or grilled pork chop. That's Martin's Downtown and Livingston in Madison County. Check out their website for all the upcoming concerts downtown at martinsjxn.com. And I saw this morning as I was walking in the Livingston location that the old church out there, the chapel, they're starting to do some concerts there. Now, I don't know who it is, what's going on exactly, but when I logged on to Martin's Facebook page today, they were promoting that event. So maybe it's Joseph and his team have converted the chapel into a concert venue, which I think is 7 different kinds of cool. Y'all can check that out. Let's see here real quick. I'm just kind of curious if I can find that again. No, I can't find it again. I guess I was looking on another Facebook page. But anyway, check it out, Martin's, Livingston, and downtown. All right, let's see what your chat's got to say. Robin on YouTube says, just another day in paradise, talking about the stuff going on in Jackson. On X, Bourbon Diplomacy. What a heck of a name that is. I like that name. The Bourbon Diplomacy says, good morning, Clay. Stay off the streets on any illegal vehicles, not just four-wheelers. Oh, no doubt. I did get a text in on the Guns and Gear text line. Somebody said, man, they rip and roar on bikes and ATVs in the Brooklyn Hills, Forest Hill Road area over there in South Jackson and Byram all the time on the streets. Oh, yeah, 100%, man. That's where I grew up. That's where my folks live. I see it, hear about it all the time. Julie King says it's just so dangerous, period. Kenneth Flowers, good morning, Vietnam. And good morning to everybody else watching. Jonathan, Julie, Missy, Tim, Linda, Chad. Man, I can go on and on and on. I don't want to name everybody's name. It would eat up the whole show here. But thank you all for tuning in this morning. Jason, Jake, Barbershop Bob, and Christine, as well as Chad and Linda. I guess I did it anyway. All right. Let's see. What else did we want to talk about? Man, we got a lot to talk about this morning. Real quick, we'll get this one out the way. I know we're going to talk about the Trump stuff, the FISA warrants, Obama, all that. Look, guys, as far as that goes, and I'm going to play some videos and stuff, trying to regurgitate that in a way that makes sense and for y'all to understand, that's not going to be what you get from this show. That is a lot of detailed, deep state government, whatnot, that I'm just going to tell you, you're going to be better hearing that from some of these national sources out there or from some of the other guys on this radio station. That's just above my pay grade. Now, there's some stuff I can give you my opinion on it, but if you want a full explanation of what was going on there and trying to explain that, I'm not going to be your guy. I'm just going to be honest with you. Now, I got a rule. I talk about things that I know that I can explain and things that I'm familiar with. And I'm familiar with that to an extent that I understand that they were trying to get Trump and screw Trump. But what I'm not is the inner workings of FISA warrants and how all that works and just how shady all that was. That's just above my pay grade. There's going to be some other people that just do it way better. I'm sure Kim Wade will do a good job of that. I'm sure Andrew Gosser can do a good job of that. Sean Yerkron, if he chooses to step into that, can. That's just a little bit more than I want to get into. So, but I do have some stuff I want to play and say about it, just on the surface level, and kind of LOL at the Democrats who told us all it was a hoax and that Obama and Hillary Clinton weren't trying to spy on Trump. So I do have opinions on that. But if you're wanting a full explanation, a deep dive conversation into the FISA warrants and everything, and Carter Page and all of that, it's not going to be the show for you this morning. So I do apologize in advance. Well, not really. I mean, you should know what you're getting here at this point. Guns and Gear text line says, I worry this deadly accident will happen in Brandon since they're allowing golf carts. Our infrastructure is not conducive to this activity. I ran into a buddy of mine at the gun show. Not the gun show, at the wildlife extravaganza. Was it yesterday or Saturday? Saturday. His sister's married to a friend of mine. And him and his wife got hit the day after they passed the ordinance. They went and got an inspection sticker, a permit to ride on their golf cart. And I want to say, they told me the story Saturday. If I get some of the details wrong, I'm sorry, but roughly saying the first time they were on it after they got their permit, they got 30 yards away, maybe 30 feet away. It was something crazy. And somebody hit them in a car. And then my dude, man, he's jacked. He works out every day. I mean, just jacked. Every time I see him, like, man, I just want to be like you when I grow up. I mean, just big old He-Man arms. Good dude, just solid people, man. And tore his shoulder all up. Was the labrum, I think he put it, because I asked him, was it his rotator cuff that got tore up? And he's like, no, I got hit by a car on a golf cart. I remember that happening. I just didn't know it was him. He tore his labrum up. But, yeah, it's already happened. And then over the weekend, or towards the end of last week, a daughter and her father got hit by a car in Crossgates. I don't know if they were on a golf cart, because the golf cart accident happened in the downtown area, near Sunset and Jackson Street, Sunset and College Street, down by the old middle school, the old high school. So, yeah, the golf carts on the streets. I'm really surprised Brandon passed that in all areas, in the neighborhoods there. Because there's some, like downtown Brandon, the infrastructure, the streets, like Sunset, over by where I live, it ain't built for it, man. People drive down that road. They use it as a cut through to get around the Highway 80 traffic, and they drive way too fast on it. It's already real narrow. I mean, my Raptor, you know, if you know anything about Raptors, they're 6 inches wider than a regular F-150. My butthole gets a little tight. Well, it stays tight. Just being 100 on y'all there. It stays tight. But that's what happens when it's exit only. Anyway, I pucker up, to say the least, when I'm driving down and a car's coming towards me. I'm like, they're going to hit me. I don't want to hit this mailbox. I don't want to hit them, especially if it's another truck or a 3/4 ton truck. Anyway, I say all that to say if there's a golf cart in the mix there, you could easily have a situation like what happened in Jackson. Easily. It's already bad enough. People, these power walkers and power joggers won't get out of the road. Here's a rant for you. Pedestrians should not have the right of way on the roads. Bicyclers, and I know I got some friends that love biking, man. I don't want to name any names. I don't want to feel like I'm attacking them. I think y'all are phenomenal athletes. You're in better shape than Clay Edwards will ever be in. Your body fat percentages are just astounding. You're chiseled. You're phenomenal athletes. Your bikes don't belong on the road. Not the right of way. I have a privilege license. I pay a privilege tax to have my car on the road. It's called my license plate and my driver's license. It pays for the paved roads. I pay for a privilege to ride my bike. I pay for a privilege to drive my vehicle on that road. You do not pay to drive your bicycle on that road. Now, I'm not allowed to drive my car down a sidewalk. Why should you have the right of way? These people, I don't know why it's on Sunset every single time, but these joggers and these power walkers, this lady yesterday was power walking down the road when I was on my way home from the extravaganza, had on a golf skirt and a weighted vest. And I was like, there's a car coming at me, and I'm coming, and she's on my side of the road. I'm like, surely she's going to step over in the grass. No. I had to come to a dang stop dang near, wait on the truck to pass me so I could drive around her. I'm like, you witch. Now, why would you play chicken with a vehicle? Now, I'm not going to hit you. I got things to do. I got things I live for. But why would you play chicken with a vehicle? Because you're hard-headed and you think you got the right of way. It just don't make sense. Don't make sense. Again, I love bikers. I ain't got no problem with y'all. I'm not one of these anti-bikes on the road people. I just don't think you have the right of way. I think you see a vehicle coming, you need to get off into the grass. I do. I mean, I understand. Look, I don't even think pedestrians got the right of ways in parking lots. At least I don't act like I do. If I in this radio station parking lot, for example, here on the campus of WYAB, if there's cars coming through the parking lot, I just let them pass on by me. I don't step out assuming that they're going to stop because Clay Edwards thinks he has the right of way. Hell no. I got things to do today. I ain't trying to get ran over. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. This segment brought to you by our friends over at A1 Gear and Auto right there, Highway 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. Get by, see Justin and his team today if you need automotive maintenance, which, hey, we probably all do. This heat in Mississippi creates extreme wear and tear on your vehicles. I'm getting my oil changed in my Raptor about every 3,000 miles right now because, on these EcoBoost F-150s, you do not want to go past the 5,000 mile mark on the oil changes. So I'm just getting mine changed early, especially in this summer heat. They say the oil get a little older on these EcoBoosts with those turbos. It can cause all kind of problems. with the cam phasers and all that, especially the cam phasers. As I say, one of the best ways to avoid your cam phaser issues is to get your oil changed on time with these. So I'm doing it early. And they can take care of all that for you at A1 Gear and Auto. But, hey, look, air not blowing cold, they got you covered. Swing by, let them test it, see if you got a leak, see if you just need a bump of Freon. But usually if you need a bump of Freon, it's because you got a leak. Let them find that for you, get it situated, and get you blowing cool and out of this Mississippi death heat wave. But look, man, they got gear in their name. It's A1 Gear and Auto. What they're known for, and what your mechanic is probably doing, is when you have rear end or front end mechanical drive issues, ring and pinion issues, they're probably sending it to A1 Gear and Auto. Just go ahead, circumvent the middleman, take it straight to A1 Gear and Auto yourself. Justin is going to get it diagnosed right the first time. He's going to get it fixed on time, and he's going to get it fixed on budget, unless unforeseen problem arises. But he will not just fix it and then tell you, oh, but hey, by the way, it's an extra $1,000. He's going to call you, going to consult with you, going to explain what's going on, and then you can make a decision if you want to move forward or not. I hear too many horror stories from people taking their stuff to mechanics and them just fixing it and people not knowing how much it's going to be. Well, bro, it's a $5,000 car. I didn't really want to spend $3,000 fixing it. Anyway, you ain't going to have to worry about that at A1 Gear and Auto. Highway 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. Tell them Clay sent you. Let's go to the Guns and Gear text line. I didn't intend on having a couple segments about the right-of-way, bikes, people versus cars, but, you know, it's a touchy subject. It is definitely a touchy subject. Real quick, man, prayers to my mama. She's having surgery today. And kind of snuck up on me. So my mom's having surgery today. I think she's having knee surgery. She's had bad luck with her knees. Bad luck. There's a particular sports medicine place here in town that really screwed her up. And these, fortunately for them, they've made it just about impossible to sue for malpractice. But if there was ever a case for it, it's what they did to my mama's knee. And I will tell anybody that will listen. I can't do it on here on the radio station. I don't want to get them sued. But because of course they could turn around and sue us for me calling them out. But I can't sue them, or my mom can't sue them for destroying her knee and keeping her out of work for what's going to end up being over a year by the time it's all said and done. So shout out to a particular sports medicine place that may or may not be named after the state of Mississippi. Anyway, I digress. Unknown texter. I delivered pizza in Castlewoods, and the drivers blow by the delivery drivers who have to do a few miles below the speed limit and thoroughly stop at stop signs. Golf carts with underage kids driving around all over the place. Almost all drivers have been hit by drunk drivers at the Grants Ferry intersection. Oh, man. Yeah, Castlewoods is hell when it comes to that. All those golf carts and kids riding around on golf carts. You know, that's another thing. Kids on golf carts. Parents, do better. I mean, real talk. Do better. That's tough. I mean, I get it. It's fun. I mean, I'm assuming, and I don't know this because I don't have a golf cart, so and I don't have a kid young enough for me to care, for it to be my battle. But I'm assuming you got to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart. Do you not? Can somebody verify that? Do you have to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart? Or is it okay for underage kids to drive the golf cart on the street? I'd be interested in knowing that. I don't think underage kids, need to be driving. When I say underage, I mean no driver's license age, need to be driving golf carts on the streets. Could probably make an argument for I'm not driving them on the golf course too, but anyhow. Dagwood says on the Guns and Gear text line, mixing a bike and rider at maybe 200 pounds with a 4,000-pound vehicle on public road is inherently dangerous. Zach says, didn't Lumumba make it legal to drive ATVs in Jackson? No, I don't think so. All right, unknown texter here says, I worry this deadly accident will happen in Brandon. Okay, we got that part. Then they said exactly, cities allow it, but they have designated lanes. I remember hearing that one, maybe they want to use the city's center for golf cart parking once they move the statue. Oh, says because we don't have effing sidewalks. Kind of, this person was replying as I was talking, so those texts seem a little out of context there. Yeah, Brandon doesn't have a whole lot of sidewalks, but they have put a lot of sidewalks in. I got to call a spade there. They have been doing a lot of sidewalk adding, especially in the downtown area over by the middle school. But to that, I'll say this. At some point, the person that deciding to walk on the streets, and I'm not telling you don't walk around the streets. I'm just telling you, get the hell out of the way when you see a car coming, because don't assume that everybody thinks you have the right of way. And do you want your hard-headed, bull-headed butt trying to prove a point to lose that battle of chicken with a vehicle? You don't. There's too many underage drivers over there. I think I talked about this on the show. Right there on Sunset, right at Lewis Wilson there. Is it Lewis Wilson? That's the other road. It's what's the name of the road that's painted on the side of Busick Well? At Sunset and Busick Well, I watched a guy that was jogging. Now, I've seen this guy get hit by a car pulling out of the Shell station by Ramey's because, again, he thought he had the right of way. A car was pulling out and they collided. He just kept jogging. He bounced back like 5 feet, just kept jogging. But just a couple of days earlier, I saw that same jogger. And, dude, if you listen to this show, I would love to get your opinion on this. He wouldn't get out of the way on Sunset. And a guy in a white F-150 was trying to get around him. He got so mad, he went back, turned around, and got side by side with him, cussing him out as he was jogging down the road. Now, look, I don't know, but I'm going to bet that jogger could have probably whooped that old boy's butt in that F-150. He looked like a big old boy, kind of heavy set, fat guy. Old jogger was in really, really good shape. He got him on cardio, if nothing else. Big old boy could be a one-hitter quitter and it not matter. Knock him on out. But anyway, I'm just telling you, man, folks are getting, I've seen this same guy get hit by a car on government, West Government, 80, whatever you want to call it. And then I seen him almost get into a fight. He just ignoring it. But the guy in the truck cussing him out and turned around, following him because he wouldn't get out of the road. I don't think people have the right of way. I mean, I know legally they do, but why I got to pay a privilege tax to drive on the road? And I know I could walk up and down it too. I get it. But man, you at some point, I guess what I was saying was at some point as a pedestrian, you got to take some ownership and a little responsibility and go find a trail to walk on. Go find somewhere with sidewalks. You may have to get in your vehicle and drive and park somewhere to safely power walk or jog or bike. Brandon, and I can only speak for Brandon, but I can speak for wherever. I ain't got no problem doing that. But since I live in Brandon and I do outdoor activities, I'll speak for Brandon. We got a lot of places out there to do these very recreational things that don't involve having to share the space with a motorized vehicle. You got the trails at the quarry, which I love, by the way, that you can mountain bike, walk, whatever. We'll be right back. Well, I blew completely through my ad break there, but I was saying you got the quarry trails, you've got all kind of different trees. You got the River Oaks walking path over there in front of Cross Gates and Rankin General River Oaks. I guess it's River Oaks now, but the Rankin General, whatever you call it, walking trail. Is that what it's called? A walking path? Anyway, walking track. You got plenty of places around Brandon that you can do this without having to go share a narrow road in the middle of a busy neighborhood. All right, take this break. We'll be right back to land the Plane for hour one. We got a whole nother hour to go. Hell, we got 3 hours this morning. My guest in hour three on the Heavy Hitters Entrepreneur Show is going to be Steven Siler, owner of Burgers Blues, one of the owners of Burgers Blues Barbecue, all three locations, discussing what it's like running a multi-unit restaurant like Burgers Blues and Barbecue, what staffing is like, how he got into the business, all that stuff. Going to be a fun conversation. We'll be right back. Welcome back in as we land the plane for hour one. Man, that was a hot topic. We got a bunch of good texts on that. I'll have to try to read them in hour two. We got a whole nother hour to go. Then we got hour three this morning, Heavy Hitters, the Entrepreneur Show. My guest is going to be Steven Siler, owner of Burgers Blues Barbecue, coming in and discussing what it's like running a multi-unit restaurant. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. I missed my intro, didn't I? Let me start over there. Boom goes the dynamite. You're tuned back in to the most incendiary show on the RADIO. It's the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB 103.9 FM here in Central Mississippi, streaming worldwide at SaveJXN. On Facebook, X, and YouTube, and then at Clay Edwards Show, or Clay Edwards Show, as somebody asked over the weekend, on Rumble. We also have three dedicated social media channels that we just load the clips of this show, Reels and all that stuff. It doesn't stream at any of these places, but it does. We do just take the clips from the show and load them up. It's at Clay Edwards Show on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So if you like the clips, like the reels, want to share something you heard here without having to go back and listen to the whole thing, there's a really, really good chance that that segment or topic got loaded up in 3 minutes or less to the in a 3 minute or less format to at Clay Edwards Show on YouTube, TikTok, as well as Instagram. And all of it does go over to my X account, too, at SaveJXN. Might as well put something there. I look at X all the time. I just do not post. I'm not that active on it. Facebook and Instagram, by far, are my most active social media accounts that I post the most on. I'm a bit of a boomer, I guess, especially Facebook. I like Facebook because, I mean, I get it's a crap platform when it comes to their politics and all that stuff. But it's just the one that I enjoy the most. It's the one I feel like I know the most people on, that I had the most connect, especially my personal account. It's like one I feel like it's the easiest way to actually connect with people that, generally speaking, have a real profile, aren't hiding behind an anonymous account. I mean, you get some of that, don't get me wrong. Where the others are just, especially X, is strictly just for arguing. That is all that platform is arguing. Doesn't matter what the post is, but it's all arguing. I ain't doing all that. I ain't wasting my day arguing with y'all. I'll tell you what I feel, how I feel, going about my business. Y'all can argue in the comments. But anyway, this segment brought to you by our friends at Mazda of Jackson. It's time to put a little more sizzle in your red-hot Mississippi summer at Mazda of Jackson. Drive away on a road trip with a boost from Mazda Jackson's $1,000 off owner loyalty reward and 1.9% financing on a 2025 CX-90, CX-70, and the assembled in America CX-50. 1 year maintenance is also included on your vehicle purchase. You might as well take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory too before it's gone. Don't forget, Mazda of Jackson, every new Mazda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Experience Mazda's exhilarating performance, top-notch safety, and reliability. It's time to choose Mazda. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson at the I-55 frontage road. And, of course, Jackson. Locally owned, locally operated. Chris and Cassie Carr, good folks, man. Get over there, see them today. Tell my boy Grady Patera that Clay said hello. Let's check out the Guns and Gear text line, and then I want to read some of your comments. You guys flooded the zone with that previous topic, and I am one to ride the hot hand. I am one to ride the hot hand. And this is a good evergreen topic, too, so maybe we can use this show as a rerun one day. On the Guns and Gear text line, which, by the way, is 769-241-1944. Unknown texter, a first-time texter. We don't get a whole lot of first-time texters anymore. Says, people walking and riding bikes do not pay fuel tax either, which goes to road maintenance. And I text back, nailed it. Nailed it. And what they'll say is, yes, I do. When I drive my vehicle, I do. Well, you're not in your vehicle, and that's what you pay that for. So, nanny, boo-boo. I think, look, if you got to have a special permit or license to ride a golf cart on the street, why not a bicycle? Look, I'm being facetious there. All I'm saying is just use some common sense. Don't just assume that these vehicles are going to get out of the way or get stuck riding behind you. Again, I love my friends that do their bike, and I envy y'all's conditioning and your what's the word I'm looking for? Your cardio, your stamina. Thank you. Which I have plenty of. I have huge stamina. I had the most stamina, the greatest stamina. Just ask anybody. They'll tell you. Clay has lots of stamina. But anyway, I just don't assume that everybody's a nice guy and wants to ride behind y'all or is going to get out of y'all's way. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Unknown texter. In the 70s, it says in the 70s, 6 years old, I walked to the pool from my house. I was the first house on Star Road, so about 3/4 of a mile. This isn't the same Brandon. Our dumb butt mayor wants to do away with bedroom community, yet add the bullcrap that fits that definition. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Brandon, man. I'm telling y'all, I had a front row seat for the demise of Jackson. And it started with the pandering to a particular group of folks. And that's what I'm seeing out in Brandon right now. I'm seeing some pandering to a particular group of folks. And I'm seeing some things going on in Brandon. I mean, look, I say it all the time. I left my Jackson in Jackson when I came to Brandon. I didn't bring any of my South Jackson with me. I came to Brandon a changed man. And I said I was going to stay out of local politics. I said, man, Brandon's doing good. There's a reason I moved here. It's doing good. They don't need my assistance. They don't need my input on nothing. Well, that was 4 years ago. And now I think they need my input on some things. Because I'm seeing some things going on in Brandon that got me side-eyeing some folks. They got me off in some conversations that I didn't anticipate being in. With other elected officials from Brandon, mind you, that are also thinking the same thing. I had some interesting conversations at the extravaganza this weekend. I heard some interesting names. Could be running for mayor in 4 years. Interesting names. Some currently elected city officials and county. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Well, that statue thing is going to come back and bite Butch Lee like I don't think he anticipated. Because I ain't letting it go. And because I know they're still working behind the scenes, trying to get that thing moved. And I had some people aren't feeling it. I know they had a couple idiots show up to speak on behalf of all white folks in Rankin County, and apparently a school principal that thought he would show up and speak on behalf of all black folks that attend his school. But that ain't the way the majority feels. not the way the majority feels. They'll find out. They're going to find out. Let's see here. I found out some interesting things about that school principal. But I tell you, I'm not going to get into it because a lot of it's personal, but I'll say this. You live in a glass house, you may want to be mighty, mighty careful about the rocks you throw. Let's take a call on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Oh, they weren't there. 601-879-0002. Let's try it. Yeah. Y'all call back. 601-879-0002. Yeah, be mighty careful. Everybody doesn't have the restraint that Clay Edwards does. Because a lot of people felt compelled to tell me the same thing multiple times. And eventually, those same people are going to end up telling somebody that doesn't care about putting it out there. I be real careful about throwing rocks from a glass house. Let's see here. Michael Edwards, watching on Facebook, says, was the golf carts the mayor's idea too? Another bad idea. Well, the mayor has to, he's the one that sets the agenda and puts on the docket for what they vote on. So if it got voted on and approved, the mayor was the one that had to put it on the agenda to be voted on. So I don't know if it was his idea, but he agreed to put it on the docket. I don't have a problem with the golf carts. I just think that there's some areas I don't think are golf cart friendly. I don't think that downtown Brandon is golf cart friendly. I think the roads are too narrow. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be nice to be able to jump in a golf cart and ride from my house to Burgers Blues Barbecue. I don't even know if you can do that. Can you cross 80 on the things? I hadn't looked into it. I don't own a golf cart, so don't plan on buying a golf cart. You can get a DUI on a golf cart just like you can in a vehicle. I mean, like for me, the purpose in buying a golf cart would be I'm just going to be honest with y'all. If I bought a golf cart, it would be to drive to the bar to drink and be able to drive back without getting a DUI. But you still get a DUI for driving a golf cart just like you can a vehicle, so there's no upside to buying a golf cart. I'll just get an Uber. It's a lot cheaper than a golf cart. There, I said the quiet part out loud. I don't see a purpose in buying a golf cart otherwise. It takes just as much energy and effort to get my car keys and get in my vehicle to drive the same distance as it does to get in a golf cart, get the keys, and drive the same distance at a lower rate of speed. I'll just use my vehicle if all things being equal. But I'm not drinking and driving. I'm just saying, if that's what I was going to do, I don't see the upside to the golf cart. Is there some special golf cart parking? Maybe I'll reconsider. Let's check out the Guns and Gear text line. Dagwood says, wonder if you can be charged with a DUI on a bicycle. No, it's got to be a motorized vehicle. You can, in fact, ride your bicycle drunk, but you can get a public drunk ticket. So, let's see here. Make sure I got the Guns and Gear text line cleared. Let's check a few of the comments here, and we got to take a break, try to stay on schedule this hour. Coming up in hour 3, we've got Steven Soller, owner of Burgers Blues Barbecue, going to be on our entrepreneur show. Want to hear Steven's story about how he started Burgers Blues Barbecue, the closing of the original location, expanding to 3 locations, what it's like running a business with that many employees, running a business in a restaurant that deals with the public in this day and age, and kind of what keeps them guys moving, because they've done a phenomenal job doing what they do. Let's see here. Bourbon Diplomacy says, looks like a 3-part text here. Says it's required by the state that you be a licensed driver. Then says golf carts and low-speed vehicles may be operated. Okay, he's copying the law, so I'm not going to read all that. But thank you for putting that in the comments there, Bourbon Diplomacy. Let's take a break, and let's change topics when we come back. They told kids learn to code instead of to become plumbers and electricians. Now AI is coming for the coders' jobs, not the trade jobs. Isn't that ironic that now those same people that were telling everyone that we have to have illegal immigrants to do those jobs that AI can replace, that AI can't replace? The same people that told our kids learn to code instead of go to get trade jobs are the same ones pushing for illegal immigrants to come do those trade jobs and leave our kids without a skill that can make them money. Let's take a deep dive into that topic when we come back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Of course, podcast is always going to be available within 1 hour of the show ending here on WYAB. All you got to do is search Clay Edwards Show, where you download podcasts, stream music, audiobooks, and more. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, all that stuff. Be right there waiting on you. Right here waiting for you. This segment should be brought to you by a trade school, but it's not. It's not. It should be brought to you by a trade school. If anybody knows somebody over at Heinz that's in charge of the marketing, the Clay Edwards Show, would love to entertain them as an advertiser, because I think we could bring a lot to the table. But in the meantime, it's brought to you by another great sponsor. How about our friends at Men's Health and Women's Wellness Mississippi? Man, I talked to a lot of people about testosterone this weekend. I had my big banners pulled up advertising testosterone screenings. You can get your free screening today by texting Clay to 601-800-5031. Text Clay to 601-800-5031. And they're going to get in contact with you about getting your free testosterone screening scheduled and getting your life back on track if you're a male over about 35 years old. But hey, there's no age limit. Go get that blood work done at Men's Health of Mississippi. Don't Google it. You'll find the wrong place. Text Clay to 601-800-5031. Let's take a call before we get into our next topic on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, I'm sorry, we're having technical difficulties on the phone. I don't know what's going on there, but it was nothing but static. Caller, I apologize. Well, maybe I'll call you during the break and try to get you back on. My apologies there. Let's go to my video here. This is Mike Rowe discussing how they told our kids learn to code. And now AI is coming for those coders' jobs. They didn't tell our kids to learn to HVAC, to learn to plumb, to learn to work on vehicles, to learn to be electricians. They told them to learn to code. Remember, that's what Obama and Hillary Clinton told all the coal mine workers in West Virginia, in Pennsylvania, when they went to war on coal. Learn to code. That's what I love telling all these mainstream journalists as they lose their jobs. Learn to code. Welcome to the real. Come on over here and try doing this on the independent side. You'll be learning to code real quick. Let's listen to Mike Rowe here talk about this topic. This is about 3 minutes.
15 years to code. Learn to code, we said. Yeah, well, AI is coming for the coders. They're not coming for the welders.
Hell no.
They're not coming for the plumbers. They're not coming for the steam fitters or the pipe fitters or the HVAC. They're not coming for the electricians. You know, that Ideas Festival I was telling you about in Aspen, I sat there and listened to Larry Fink say we need 500,000 electricians in the next couple of years. Not hyperbole. This is me being the alarmist again. There's not a week that goes by in my humble little foundation. It's called MicroWorks. Shameless plug. We award work ethic scholarships every year, right, to kids who want to learn a skill that's in demand. These are trade school scholarships. Not a week goes by where I don't get a phone call from somebody like the Blue Forge Alliance, who oversees our maritime industrial base. That's 15,000 individual companies who are collectively charged with building and delivering 3 nuclear-powered subs to the Navy every year for 10 years, right? 2 Virginia, 1 Columbia class. Mind-bogglingly complicated. This guy calls and says, we're having a hell of a time finding tradespeople. Can you help? I said, I don't know, man. It's pretty skinny out there. How many do you need? He says 140,000. 140,000. Now, granted, over 7 years.
All right, I want to stop. I want to pause real quick there. Parents, hell, never mind parents. I know I got a lot of young listeners out there. Gen Y, Gen Z. If y'all, you know what? I don't have a whole lot of millennial listeners because millennials are our most liberal generation, and they're not big fans of Klebs. I have like this like gap, this like donut hole in between my followers, really young, and then like 35 and older. If you're in your 20s and you're wondering what to do with your life right now, go to learn a trade, learn to work with these hands. Learn to throw them too, but learn to work with them. And you will be irreplaceable. And you're going to see a pivot because of supply demand in the job market. And you are going to potentially be able to make 7 figures as an HVAC guy, as a welder, as a plumber. Anyway, I'm gonna let him finish. I apologize. I didn't want to let that slip. If you're listening this morning, consider why before, especially if you still live with your parents or something like that, and you're kind of still figuring out what you want to do with your life. You ain't happy with your situation. Consider going back to trade school. Become a journeyman electrician. I can go on and on.
But they need 80, 90,000 right now. These are our submarines, folks, right? Things go hypersonic, little sideways with China, Taiwan, whatever. Our aircraft carriers are no longer the point of the spear. They're vulnerable. Our submarines matter. And these guys have a pinch point because they can't find welders and electricians to get them built. Where are they? They said. We've looked everywhere. Do you know? I said, yeah, I know where they are. They're in the 8th grade, man. They're in the 8th grade. And the same thing, the automotive industry needs 80,000 collision repair and technicians. Energy, man. I don't even know what the number is.
Man, that's one I don't ever even think about is your automotive body and repair guys. I never even consider that one. Another great one that is not going to be replaced by AI.
I hear 300, I hear 500,000 everywhere. So, not to filibuster, but that's the underlying thing that I just really hope people take from this conference. There is a clear and present freakout going on right now. I've heard from 6 governors in the last 6 months. I've heard from the heads of major companies in the country. It's like a memo has gone out. And people are realizing, you know something? We need to tend to this, both on the PR side and on the demographic. I don't know what to do about the retiring demography. I don't know what to do about 7 million able-bodied men choosing not to work. But I do know that the message to the young men and women in this state that a bright future awaits if they would but learn a skill that's in demand, that's going to resonate politically. That's going to resonate practically. It's going to move the needle.
Man, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm as fired up about pointing our youth. And by youth, I don't mean just teenagers and high school kids, but yeah, especially them. I'm as fired up about this topic as I am getting men to get on testosterone and get their levels checked. I really am. Like, I have found like that's been my ministry for the last few years, is getting men to get their levels checked. Let's take a call real quick on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, yeah, Clay, the whole job thing, you would think that the universities would get a clue. And if you're going to offer 4-year programs, hey, it seems like it'd be a pretty easy success story to get a federal grant because it supports a job program. The first 2 years is a technical program. You learn a skill. If you then want to go on and get a 4-year degree, then they can give you those 300 and 400 level classes and give you a 4-year degree if that's what you want to do. But until they let go of wasting kids' times in the first 2 years of college, making you take electives like poetry to round you out, which don't do anything but guarantee you're going to starve when you get out and go to work, they're going to continue to lose. So not only, the universities have been out of touch, they've sold a whole generation of kids a bill of goods and run up a debt for them. But just like the fight that the president's going through with the DEI and all that other stuff, the next fight is getting them to stop peddling the degree programs they offer. Jackson State, right now, if somebody would open up their eyes, could run a technical program, 2 years, attach it to some type of degree program, and they'd have kids falling all over them. And you could probably get the federal government to pay for it.
I love it, brother.
They won't let go. They won't let go.
No, they can't. It's like they're trapped in it. It's the craziest that they're stuck on a plantation, and they're slaves to it, and they don't, like, they're free, but they don't want to leave.
Yeah, and to me, it just seems it's another one of those, this is not hard. It's just simply, do you want to do something that all the information is telling you will work and is the right thing to do? And you would think it'd be just like Hines Junior College runs all their technical programs, 2-year programs. Just attach that to another 4-year university in the state, but don't make kids take all the useless stuff in the first 2 years, because it doesn't matter. If you don't know world history when you come out of high school, college isn't going to help you to get it again. And at that point in your life, you're trying to transition to productivity, not dependency on your parents. So it's a wasted effort. You want to learn that stuff, which I'm all about. I'm a history nut. But buy a book.
I am too, but I didn't become one till my mid-30s, and I found out all I needed to learn on YouTube. Learn it when you get ready to learn it. You don't need it before then, generally speaking.
Well, I think too, when people get older, especially all of us, we start seeing things differently, and so it opens us up to everything's weren't what I thought I was. This is something to learn about. But anyway, I'll let you go. Good conversation.
Hey, yeah, keep listening because I got some thoughts on the other side of the break.
All right.
All right, thanks, brother. Yeah, I want to pick this back up on the other side of the break here. This is going to carry us to the top of the hour, so if I apologize, we're not going to be hitting any of the Trump FISA stuff on this show today. Maybe we'll hit it tonight on the live stream with Sean and Lindsay because I would like to get Sean's thoughts on it. Caller, stay on hold. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, let's see here. How about my buddy right downstairs here from me, Mr. Jamie Creel, shelter insurance agent. I met some people, and I met a fella named Jimbo. From Simpson County, I believe, that said to tell, I may have the county wrong, I'm pretty sure it's Simpson, but I know the name Jimbo, can't forget that. I met a fella named Jimbo that co-signed this weekend at the Wildlife Extravaganza on what a great guy that Jamie Creel is. And I was just looking at him like he had 3 heads because I'm like, hey, bro, I know this already. He's a hell of a guy. I'm kidding, Jimbo. I'm just messing with you. No, but Jimbo says Jamie Creel is a great guy. He's also his insurance agent, and he's my insurance agent. Why isn't he your insurance agent? Let him get you a quote today. See if he can save you some money like he did my buddy Johnny. Saved him $700 a month across the board. Now, look, that's rare, but who knows? $100 is $100, right? $20 is $20. If you can save money and your quality of insurance doesn't go down, you're winning. Maybe you got one of these big national carriers. Do you know what it's like to have your insurance agent's cell phone number? and know you can call him 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, that is a good feeling when you're in a bind, when an emergency happens. If it happens on a Sunday, after hours, Jamie's going to answer that phone call. If he can't answer, he's going to text you right back. He's not going to ignore you because he knows if you're reaching out to him after hours on a Sunday or a holiday, it's an emergency, and he understands that. He understands that life happens. And that's important for a guy like Clay Edwards. Because I catch myself in all kind of weird situations after hours, on holidays, on weekends. You know, I don't know exactly work. My life don't stop 9 to 5. It goes just like y'all's. Jamie Krill understands that. That's why he'll be my insurance agent as long as he decides to sell insurance. He'll let him be yours. Check him out today. He's got an office in Ridgeland and in Flora. Just Google Jamie Creel, Creel, Shelter Insurance. He's more than just an agent. All right, real quick before we jump back into that, got a caller on hold. I do want to clear something up that I was wrong about according to Bourbon Diplomacy on X. It said, "Hey, sorry, Clay, you're incorrect. Under state law, a bicycle is considered a vehicle and therefore under the same restrictions as any other conveyance. So technically, you could get a DUI on a bicycle." Man, could you imagine getting a DUI on a bicycle and then having to pay all the insurance and all the ramifications that come with that? I think it would be a little. And look, nobody supports law enforcement more than I do. I won't say as much, but nobody supports them more than I do. But if you get a cop to give you a DUI on a bicycle instead of a public drunk, or just take you home, you were doing a lot. You were doing a lot extra. But man, I'd really want to hear the cop's side of the story there on why he decided to give you a DUI and not just a public drunk, because that seems like doing a whole lot extra. So I would love to hear both sides of that story. Anyway, let's take a call on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Good morning, Clay. This is Sylvia. How are you?
Hey, Sylvia. How you doing?
I am well. Thank you for asking. I wanted to tell you something. I would like to go a different route about what our young people could be doing.
Okay.
I wish that we required our young people to go into the military like Israel does. I feel that every high schooler, after they graduate or get their GED, or if you don't graduate, when you turn 18, at least 18, everybody goes into the military. You choose either the Air Force, Marines, Army, or Navy, or you can even do the U.S. Coast Guard. And the reason why I say that is because you will learn some type of skill in the military. Not only that, if you stay in, and I do think they should stay in 4 years, period, and have it be mandatory that you go. And we're in America, so we don't have that. But however, if we did, our kids would be learning the skill, because the military will teach you how to be a mechanic. They will teach you how to be an electrician, because they need those skills in the military, especially if we're in the midst of a war. When I was in the Army, I was called what was a cable dog. When I left the Army, I could have worked because I was in communications. I could have worked for the phone company when I left, but I didn't go that route. Anyway, I do feel that that's what we should do. Make it mandatory for our high schoolers to go to the military 4 years and then decide what you want to do. And you also receive a GI Bill so that you're eligible for that. So that will help you with college if you decide to go to college. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that your first 2 years are nothing but prerequisites. Go to a junior college, save you some money, and make sure you go to a junior college that the 4-year college that you want to go to takes everything you take and that you've done. Because when you transfer sometimes, some of your units might not transfer. So if you're going to college, do that 2 years. Make sure that 2 years feeds into whatever university that you want to go to so you don't lose any credits. But I don't feel our children are being really taught many things except in areas that aren't that cultural attitude. And the other thing I wanted to say is that if our children do go into the military, they will appreciate our country a lot more than what they do now. I'm sick of these whiners about our country. This is a great nation. I love my nation. I love my country. And if you don't like it, and you feel that it's because a lot of so-called blacks don't like the United States of America, leave. All right? We're not going to keep you here. Goodbye. We don't even want you here if you don't want to be here in such a bad place. And that was all I had to say. I had another thought, but I forgot it. You know, I am a touched old maid senior. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.
Bah. Thank you, Miss Sylvia. I disagree on. I mean, I get where her heart's at on every kid having joined the military. I appreciate. I agree with her, with her in spirit, but in application, it doesn't work. Jeff Murrah, watching on Facebook, brings up a great point. He goes, "I'm not a fan of the military requirement. I served 36 years, and I don't want some of these kids in the military. Think about it." No, I agree with you, Jeff. I also, with a country the size of America, I don't know that it's logistically possible for every kid to go through the military. It would have to be way more localized, I believe, if that's the case. You know, maybe every kid go through ROTC, something like that. I could understand that. Maybe a military history class instead of some of these other bogus things that make them learn. I had a lot more I wanted to unpack on this topic, but we're kind of out of time on it. But I'll ramble here for a minute. But guys, I'm just a big, big supporter of these training programs, of these trade school programs. Hines, and I just say Hines because I'm not as familiar with the other junior colleges. Hines has got some great VOTEC programs. I'm a product of Hines VOTEC. I got an automotive parts sales and marketing degree from Hines right out of when I was there because I was too young to not be in school when I decided to get my GED instead of finish school, which I have no regrets on. There's not a day that goes by that how do I say this properly? Not a single day have I ever regretted not finishing high school. I couldn't get out of there soon enough and get into the workplace. I did very well for myself for a long time right out of that. Ended up owning a nightclub at a young age, did that for roughly 15 years, made more money than anybody that it took a long time for anybody I graduated high school with to catch up with me. Now, due to my own personal demons, I let them catch up and pass as I regressed, and I had to start over again in my early 30s, and that's when I got in the car business, which, by the way, that's another skill, learning how to sell, learning the gift of gab, learning how to negotiate, learning how to look another man or a woman eye to eye and ask the tough questions, or as in, are you willing to sign on the dotted line? Hey, that's a trade too. Don't let them tell you any differently. Learning to talk. That is absolutely a trade that you can use for the rest of your life. AI is not going to replace good salespeople. It may change the process. It won't change the people or the need for it. Dealerships have been trying. They can't get rid of good salespeople. We'll be right back to Land the Plane on hour 2. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We got 3 hours today. Don't go anywhere. Guys, I could talk for hours about this. And if for some reason my guest doesn't show up for hour 3, we will talk about it for another hour. But I'm actually going to talk to this topic somewhat with our guest, Stephen Seiler, owner of Burgers Blues Barbecue, coming up here on the Heavy Hitters Outlaw Entrepreneur Show. Y'all don't go anywhere. Man, what a fun topic this is. Again, I could do this all day long. And I may peel the onion back and see if we can't get somebody in from one of these trade schools, from Hines or something like that, to discuss this very topic. Or maybe get some of these employers in here to discuss some maybe training programs or that they have to get people to come on and do some of these jobs. We'll look into that. If you are familiar with that, reach out to me and let me know, and I would love to have you on. All right, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Welcome back in. As we land the plane for the day, guys, there's going to be an hour 3 today coming up. Don't go anywhere. I've got Stephen Seiler with Burgers Blues Barbecue coming in as my guest for hour 3 today. on the Heavy Hitters Outlaw Entrepreneur Show. We're going to discuss all things business with Steven and kind of, well, y'all know what we like to do on that show. I like to get people's stories. I like to hear the story of these entrepreneurs, these local business owners, these people who are the backbone of our communities. I like to see what makes them go, what drives a guy like Steven Soller to get up and keep doing it every day with 3 restaurants. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, guys, you know what I normally do is kill the feed and start a new one because it makes my post-editing process a lot easier, but I'm not going to do that today. We got over 300 people in the stream watching. There's no point in doing that. I'll just do the extra work on the back end for editing. Y'all don't go anywhere. I got Steven Soller, Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, coming up with me for a whole nother hour this morning. Got to get him settled in, get his headphones and mic working. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in this morning. What a great, great topic, man. I'm fired up about this. We'll see if we can't get Steven's opinion on this stuff as well. He has to hire people and whatnot, so we'll see if he's taking advantage of any of the culinary programs at these trade schools. And that's another one, culinary. Man, it just goes on and on and on. You ain't replacing the cook with AI. All these jobs are going to start paying more money as less people can do them. We'll be right back. Welcome back in. It's hour 3, or should I say hour 1 of the Clay Edwards Show. But this is our Heavy Hitters Outlaw Entrepreneur Hour here. We do it every Monday, 9 to 10 o'clock as part of the Clay Edwards Show. We're live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios here at 103.9 FM, WYAB. And, you know, the goal with this show was to completely detach it from the typical format of the Clay Edwards Show, where we're talking about politics and culture and all of that stuff. And it was an opportunity to bring in local business owners without kind of pulling them into the muck of the political and culture war, where we can talk about business and talk about their stories. And I've got a guest here in the studio today. This is about the 9th week we've been doing this, and this is a guy that I've been wanting to talk to. And sometimes it's as simple as just sending a text message and asking him, hey, do you mind coming and doing this? And he's like, heck yeah, man. When and where? And that guest is one of my longtime partners here on the show, Mr. Steven Soller, part owner of Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. You know, they got 3 great locations, Madison, Brandon, and the newest one there at Dogwood and Flowwood. I've wanted to hear, you know, I spent a lot of time in the service industry, and I wanted to hear, but it's been a while. It's been a decade since I've been in it, and I wanted to hear kind of some of the things that they're dealing with. I want to hear Steven's story. I've known Steven since way before he opened a restaurant, how he got into it. Maybe you guys out there somewhere can take some inspiration from this, and maybe it helps get you through a struggle you're going through or make you realize, hey, I want to try that. Anyway, with all that said, Steven, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing well for a Monday morning.
Yeah.
Hopping at 'em.
I know, man. Look, it's a big, that's one of the logistical things I didn't take into account when I started this and trying to get business owners to come out here. We are out in Florida, so depending on where you're coming from, it can be a bit of a haul. And then it's Monday morning for a business owner, small business owner, and that can be a really, really hectic time coming out of the weekend, trying to get the week going. But, hey, we got a big audience, so it's a little free publicity too, so it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
It has the potential to be anyway. So it kind of works. But look, dude, with that said, you've been in the restaurant business for a long time. You worked in the restaurant business before you owned a restaurant, right?
Right. So I actually helped Kevin open Trace Grill.
Really?
I was like 17 years old, and restaurants had always fascinated me, and Kevin was opening up Trace Grill.
You're about the same age as me now, too, about 47, 48?
No, I'm 44.
40, you're a couple years younger than me, okay.
So it was in 98. I was about 17 and went in there and applied, and Kevin hired me, and I just loved it. And so from there, I knew I wanted to do something different in the restaurant. So Justin Clay was a buddy of mine, and I asked him to help me get on at Cock the Walk. And he did. And before my first shift, he goes, "Don't screw this up. I don't put my name on anybody. Do not screw this up." And I said, "Okay, I got it." And I spent 5 years there.
That's in the 90s there, the
Yeah,
mid to late 90s?
99 to 2004, I worked at Cock of the Walk.
And that peak Cock of the Walk.
Man, we were rolling.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about Cock of the Walk is you didn't get fired by the management. You got fired by the staff. If you didn't cut it, they made your life miserable until you quit.
Interesting.
So I was the youngest guy. The closest was Justin, and he was 4 or 5 years older than me. So I was working with, 24, 25-year-olds to 45-year-olds. So I was the younger brother. I got picked on so much, but as soon as we stepped outside those doors, those guys had my back. I mean, they were like, "We can pick on him, but you cannot."
Yeah.
So it was a really cool big brother little brother situation.
That's cool, man. I've had so many friends that have worked there over the years. One of my dad's good friends, family friend at this point, David Murtaugh, worked there for a long time, and I can think of several others throughout the years. But that when I think of OG, old school Cock of the Walk, I just think of the attention to details and everybody getting in character, so to say, and really taking the experience that you expected with Cock of the Walk and taking that serious when they come in, the flipping the cornbread, the pirate vibe, whatever, is like everybody took that job serious. So to hear you talk about the staff taking ownership and firing, basically running off people who didn't carry their weight, that makes perfect sense hearing that now.
Yep.
It
was a fun time. It was a fun time. Made a lot of lifelong friends. Still talk to some of them, and that kind of really solidified that I wanted to be in the restaurant business, or wanted something to do with it. But I was also working construction with my dad at the time, so I was moonlighting at Cock of the Walk. And that in your 20s you can do that. You can work during the day, work at night, go out, and then get back up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run that race for a good little while.
Yeah.
But then I got into where I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go construction or restaurants. And I knew one of those two were going to win because I loved both of them. And I loved just seeing something being built and then finished, and then I also love serving the public and just making people happy with food. So whenever I came up with this idea for Burgers and Blues, I went to my dad and said, "Hey, I've got this kind of crazy idea. I want to open up a restaurant, and I'd love for you to help me do it from the construction end of it." And he's like, "Well, I mean, how much do you think this is going to cost us or cost to open?" And I said, "I think we can get it done for $150." And I said, "But, I got to have your help." I was 28 years old. I said, "But I have to have your help, because I can't do this by myself. There's no bank's going to give me a loan for that, the number one failing business in the world."
Yeah.
So my dad came to the table and helped me get it open. We built it out ourselves, so I was able to get the best of both worlds. I'm in the construction phase of it, and then we opened up the restaurant. And we had no idea that it was going to take off like it did. And, within the first year of being open, I was able to go to the bank on my own and get a loan and completely satisfy the debt that I had with my dad.
Wow.
And that was a proud moment for me.
Sure. Did on the first location, that's the classic, the OG location there off County Line there. Was it the name of that shopping center?
Center Point.
Center Point. That's
or Center
right.
Park. Center Park.
Yeah, I was thinking. I knew it was Center Point or Park. When y'all first built that, did it have the big patio, or was that added later?
So we added that in stages. So it had like this little bitty deck area.
That's what I was thinking.
And we knew it. We wanted something bigger than that. So we actually just extended the deck and made this outdoor patio situation. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, I was like, man, I'm missing out because when it's raining or it's really hot out there, nobody's sitting out there.
No.
So I was cutting my dining or my seating capacity in half. So I went back to Dad and I was like, look.
And hard to plan for that, too, if people want to do it, because it became the birthday destination.
Yes.
And it's hard to plan for that, but if you got a roof and you got some heaters and some fans, you can deal with whatever other
Right.
inclement weather may come if you have that setup there. So if somebody had a birthday booked on a Saturday, I didn't mean to cut you off here, but if somebody had a big 30, 40 top, 50 top birthday booked and the rain came through, well, you were kind of stuck.
Right.
You know, and you either had to borrow that from the inside or cancel it altogether.
That's right. And so I went to Dad and I was like, look, I don't think I need money this time. I just need your expertise. And my dad was a structural engineer, and I mean, he was just really, really good at what he did. And so I brought him out and I was like, I want to cover this thing. I don't know what that looks like, but we've got to cover it so we can have seating year round and in any type of weather and be able to manage any type of weather that comes through. And, of course, he was like, okay, well, let's figure this out. And so he went overboard with it. He made sure, he was like, if a tornado comes through here, this is still going to be standing.
Well, I remember, and I'm sitting here thinking back about how that thing was built. This was not just a lean-to by no stretch of the imagination.
No.
I mean, this was a structurally sound. You could have lived under the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to pass all structural, and I'm guessing, inspections to build a house under if you needed to. I mean, it was legitimate A-frame. I mean, all the joists and braces, and I mean, it looked really, really, really well built.
And that's just, that's what my dad taught all his boys. It's like, hey, if you're going to do it, we're going to do it right.
Yeah.
So
And it looked good.
it did.
I mean, like you knew you were under something that people had invested in, and it made the experience feel bigger. It made Burgers and Blues feel like a real brand, like a big national chain. I mean that as a compliment.
Thank you.
You know, it really did. Like it's like, hey, these guys spent some money. They did this right.
Right.
You know, on a local level, it's cool. See people invest that kind of money
Yeah. So
and attention to detail.
right. And I mean, County Line, man, it will always be the spot that put Burgers and Blues on the map. Man versus Food came through there and did our Whammy Challenge. That was huge for us. So there was a lot of cool things. I mean, I run across it's so cool when I run across young people that say, "Man, I grew up going to Burgers and Blues." Like I'm like, "Really?" And they're like,
How long was it there? On
It was
County Line?
it was there for a decade. So we were there from 2010, April of 2010 to November 30th of 2020.
I know we had a couple of the girls' birthday parties out on the patio there. My Facebook memories remind me.
Yeah.
Every year, it's like, oh yeah, we did that over on County Line.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands, a lot of karaoke, just a lot of family gatherings, and that's what I built it for. I didn't want to be a bar with food. I wanted to be a restaurant with a bar. You can grab a beer. It's not meant to be somewhere to go get trashed. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be able to bring your family, drink a beer, and not feel guilty about having your kids somewhere where you're having a cocktail or something.
Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot on the show with the places that have the spinoffs. Yeah, they have the bar separate from the restaurant. Yeah. I really like that from both perspectives. If I want to go be an adult and have drinks and I have to hear all the rigmarole from the family, I can do that. If I want to take the family and on the flip side not hear all the rigmarole from the bar, I can accomplish both of those at Burgers Blues Barbecue.
Right, and that's what makes that Brandon location so unique. Is we've never had that bar separate, and we even say 18 and older after 4 for that reason.
Yep.
Sometimes you want to be away from kids, especially if you have kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in Brandon, we're able to provide both scenarios.
No,
Bring
I
the
think it's
kids,
great.
sit on the patio.
You actually could provide 3 scenarios there because of the patio, the indoor dining,
Yeah.
and then the I call it B3 dive bar. The dive bar is a compliment. I love people know I talk about it all the time on the show. It's my little haunt. If you want to find me in Brandon, I'm not at home. That's probably where I'm at. I haven't been as much lately, but I do enjoy it a lot. Let's take a break real quick. Come back. We've got Steven Soller, owner of Burgers Blues Barbecue, here in the studio this morning on the Heavy Hitters Outlaw Entrepreneur Show. Learning Steven's history, talking about Burgers Blues Barbecue, even going back talking about Burgers and Blues. And I will ask him about the decision to close down the County Line location and open up the multiple locations around that area here in Central Mississippi. What are the future plans, if any, and more? This is Clay Edwards with the Heavy Hitters on WYAB. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to Heavy Hitters, the Outlaw Entrepreneur Show, the Outlaw Entrepreneur Hour here on WYAB. Myself, Clay Edwards. My guest this morning, Stephen Soller, proprietor of Burgers Blues Barbecue, one of our great partners here at the station, too. By the way, we always have my Christmas party there at the Brandon location. They've always been such gracious hosts of that thing. People have asked, man, have you thought about moving it around? I hadn't, actually, and I'm not going to. It's in my backyard, for one thing, and you do good business with me, I'm going to do good business with you. And they've always been such a gracious host. And, man, what a great place it is, the big patio out there. And I feel like I think the patio is the legacy.
Yeah.
It's the brand as much as burgers.
Right.
Of Burgers Blues Barbecue. You could have added patio to the name. Or deck or whatever, and people would have been like, "Oh yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. I get it." But the patio has been, especially in Brandon, being big, covered. It's the biggest gathering place outside of City Hall and the amphitheater, I believe.
Yeah.
As far as how many people you can fit under one roof there in Brandon, it's become like the community hub. Anytime there's something going on in downtown Brandon, I think you guys reap a lot of the benefit of it because you've got the space for people, for families, for everybody to kind of gather up under there. You got all the TVs and everything. And I think that building, expanding that deck and patio at the OG location on County Line created this vibe that people expect that from your locations now. And I know Madison and Flowwoods are much smaller compared to the other, but you still have the patio and the deck space, and I think that's such an important part of the brand of Burgers Blues Barbecue. So, circling back to the County Line location, you obviously learned a lot about being in the restaurant business at that point, and we all kind of understand the logistical issues with kind of being in that area and deciding to close that down, which I'm sure was a really, really tough decision because you've invested that money and you've built that brand. And it's almost kind of like having to, but you don't own the building, and it's almost like having to hand the keys over to somebody else to possibly take advantage of what you built there. Like that day, that'd been hard to walk away from, at least from my perspective. But you chose to open up the two smaller locations, Madison and Brandon. You did that simultaneously, right?
No, Brandon was about 6 months before. So we closed on November 30th of 2020 in County Line, and we actually opened December 1st in Brandon. So we never missed a day of sales.
That's great.
And that was by design.
Now you opened, my memory recollection, I wasn't living in Brandon then, but my buddy Johnny Jordan I worked with was living right around the corner. I was working with him, and he was like, yeah, there's this big old covered space in downtown Brandon, and Burgers Blues been coming and pulling the food truck up under there and setting up. You kind of had a unique opportunity. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Were y'all kind of working out of the food truck, maybe on the weekends there or something before? Or what was the story there?
Yeah, we were just testing it out. We were testing out the market, just kind of seeing the response from the community to see if this was something that they were going to embrace, and they did. I mean, we didn't do anything crazy out of that food truck.
What a cool opportunity the food trucks provide you to do that.
Yeah, it is.
That's really neat. I had never really thought about it till you just said it there, but that's really, really cool opportunity that provides you to kind of go test markets. Right. So how long did y'all do the food truck thing before you decided to pull the trigger?
Probably 3 months.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. There's a lot going on back then. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So at this point, were there any thoughts of shutting down County Line, or did the success of the way Brandon wrapped their arms around the food truck deal kind of open that door, say, okay, well, we could do this and let's consider closing down? And because it really is, you're moving at that point more so than closing. You're moving. You're not you're shutting down the brand. But how did that go?
So, County Line was more bittersweet for me moving because of my dad. My dad passed in 2013, and he had helped me build, County Line. And so he was the first 3 years we were open. We did all the renovations, the deck, everything. So leaving County Line from that point was the toughest part. I knew as a business move, and even if he had been alive, he would have said, hey, it's time to go. So when Sam's decided to leave, when Academy decided to leave that area, that's when things started going downhill. Because, I mean, we brought our own customers in, obviously, but a lot of times people would say, man, that's my Saturday ritual. We'll go to Sam's, we'll grab a lunch at Burgers and Blues, and it's just kind of their thing.
Yeah.
And so when Sam's moved to Madison, Academy moved, and then several other big box stores started to move, I was like, man, if Lowe's moves, I'm going to be
fast.
It did. And so we just knew that it was time. The area was changing. People to this day still ask me, why'd you move from County Line? And I'm like, brother, when was the last time you were over there?
Yeah.
You didn't even know I was gone.
That's a good point.
It's like, it's just an area that people don't really want to go to anymore, unfortunately.
It's sad because we're close enough to the same age that, like, County Line, that was the strip.
Right.
I mean, as far as retail and shopping and North Park and all of that. I mean, Three Doors Down wrote about North Park and one of their biggest hits ever. I mean, it's a legendary area if you grew up around here. And you just knew that you didn't want to get stuck in that traffic during the holidays. And if you're a business, how great that is to have so much traffic that people are trying to avoid the area or looking for the back ways. And I always went that back area around Center Park there to skip County Lines. I always passed right by Burgers. It was like, oh, well, those Burgers, let's just stop in. And I'd rather sit here and have a beer and a burger than I would wait in traffic.
Right.
And you as those arteries start clearing up a little bit because there's not as much business there, you lose a lot of that. And it's just gradually – Don't wait too late. Leave when you can. Don't go sign a new lease and wait. Well, we'll give it 3 more years or whatever a lease would be. Right. That's what put me out of business in downtown Jackson. Is I got stuck at the beginning of a lease, and that's when things deteriorated, and I was committed, and I didn't have the opportunity and the cash flow to relocate, and that's what inevitably put me out of the bar business was waiting too long.
Right.
Kind of rolling the dice. Well, this Fair Street thing's going to get done. And, we know how that all went, or didn't go, should I say. But so you open up Brandon, and then so you're that's rolling. You opened that up, we said December 1st of 20?
December 1st, 2020. And then we opened Madison in June 24th of 2021.
So you had the big location on County Line, and you kind of moved towards these. I'm calling Brandon small, but it's really probably bigger than
It's bigger than County Line.
It's bigger than County Line,
yeah.
But it's just the way it's kind of fragmented makes it feel smaller. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, as far as heated and cooled space anyway, it feels smaller. And then you've got Madison, which you've done a great job there, and it's smaller. And then Flowood. Now, Flowood's big. It's just kind of a unique space. But once you get in there, it's a pretty big space.
Flowood is, pretty dead smack in the middle of like square foot between Madison and Brandon.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, it's getting, we're trying to find our sweet spot as we move forward of what is that, especially if we're going to start building buildings. It's like, what is that sweet spot where, rent doesn't kill you, but you have enough room to stay. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it because you need to manage rent, but you also, and sometimes I think we put too much emphasis on rent. It's a big factor, but if you're doing the business, rent just kind of gets swallowed up.
Sure.
It should. Rent only becomes a factor when you're not doing the business you should be.
Man, I always said the same thing with the clubs. It's like rent. If we're doing what we're supposed to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, rent really shouldn't matter. Right. Within reason. It's when you go trying to open up the other 5 days a week because you're like, well, I'm paying rent 7 days a week. I need to be using the building more. And then you start losing money because you're trying to fill a building that ain't built to be filled on a Monday night.
Right.
And so I get what you're saying.
So really the balance is how many square feet do I need to where my place stays busy all the time and it pays the bills and makes you money. And so we're really honing in on exactly what we want to do moving forward, how big a space we want. Because with Madison, I feel like we leave some money on the table, not because the seats aren't filled, because we're not bigger.
Right.
And so as we move forward, obviously, being that said, we're going to be bigger than Madison. But in the same, I don't know that I want to quite be as big as Brandon. So we're, as a team, talking through that, and I'm, relying on several of my real estate guys, one being my brother, one being Bridgeford Rutledge, just picking their brains of, where do we go next? Where do we go, and how big a building do we build?
Well, I got some thoughts on that, and I would like to tap your brain a little bit. We'll do it on air in the next segment.
Okay.
And this is the Clay Edwards Show, or the Heavy Hitters version of the Clay Edwards Show, Outlaw Entrepreneurs. We got local entrepreneur, businessman himself, Mr. Stephen Soller, owner of Burgers Blues Barbecue, chopping it up here with me this morning. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to Heavy Hitters, the Outlaw Entrepreneur Show here with Clay Edwards, your host, and Stephen Soller is our guest this morning for the next 20 minutes-ish, pending one more commercial break. But, Stephen, I wanted to say one thing. Stephen owns Burgers Blues Barbecue, if you're just tuning in. You were talking about future locations, and that's just me thinking off the top of my head, seeing what sports teams are doing now with stadiums. They're turning it into way more than a stadium. It's an experience around the stadium. It's retail. It's restaurants. It's all of that stuff. You were talking about, potential new locations moving forward, this, that, and the other. And the first thing that comes to mind is, like, say, Gluckstadt, for example. They're building a lot of new stuff up there. And I'm thinking of Burgers Blues, in a strip mall again with retail, with a big patio on the side. Maybe not the big deck that, that Brandon and County Line had, but a nice, respectable patio, but in the thick of high retail area, because that foot traffic, other people advertising, all that, it works so good for you.
Yep.
Like, I would have given anything to have had 10 other nightclubs around me in downtown. The competition's great. Yeah,
right.
Bring it on, because they're spending money marketing. They're bringing people over too, and all that. And that's got to be something you take into account when you're looking for places. Like, what's the traffic count? What's the foot traffic look like? What are the other retail businesses? Like, you don't want to go anywhere anymore, surely, and just throw a building up in the middle of a parking lot and be the only show in town.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Madison's kind of that building that's in the middle of a parking lot and absolutely kills it.
Well, that's a valid point. But it's a really high traffic area.
It is. Now, but then you take our location in Flowood, and I really, I thought that was going to be an absolute home run. I've wanted to be in Flowood since I opened in on County Line in Ridgeland. Flowood's been on my radar, and we finally get over there, and even with all the compliments we get, people are like, well, we have no idea you're here. And I don't know what else to do, and we're right in the thick of it. There's competition everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like the theory behind what you just said is there. And Flowood's a great example of that. But it just hadn't taken off like Madison and Brandon, and we are literally scratching our heads. We're fine there.
It's a cool location.
Yeah, I
talk
know.
about the bar all the time, how the horseshoe and the garage door and how you can be open or closed. It's like, to me, that's close to what the floor plan should be in other locations. At least the bar and the patio and the garage door vibe and all that. It's just got a great vibe to it.
Well, I can't tip my hand too much right now.
Sure.
But we are, I guess what I would want everybody to kind of know right now is, first off, come visit us in Flowood.
Yeah.
But second, and if you live in Flowood and you don't know that we're there, we're in the same building as Chipotle. And my crew is just, they're killing it over there, and we just need some support and love from the community. But being that said, we are working on a new concept for Burgers and Blues, which, look, we still call it Burgers and Blues too, even though we're Burgers Blues Barbecue. We rebranded just to sell more barbecue, and it worked.
Man, the pulled pork's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I hadn't tried the ribs or whatnot, but the pulled pork is just, I had my first pulled pork sandwich at the Pearl Day concert and was like, oh my.
Yeah, our pulled pork is really good. So we are working on like our new like flagship location that's going to carry us, our model that's going to carry us over at least the next decade. And when I tell you it's going to be bad to the bone, it's going to be bad to the bone. We got some ideas that are coming, not just for your sports guy, but also for your family. We're going to stick to our roots. We're a family friendly restaurant, and we're just going to improve on that.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Well, hopefully, we'll get to be a part of that when you move forward, because that sounds great. Just before we get into our next topic, the to being able to take advantage of that. Like, remember how Chuck E. Cheese had party rooms?
Yep.
Like maybe party rooms, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just bouncing ideas off, being an old bar and restaurant guy. Like, I can sit here and talk about ideas and logistics of that stuff all day. I can't wait to see what you guys do, but I don't want you to tip your hat in here, so we'll just move forward. Now, you started a men's group out on County Line?
So, yeah, we it was if you've known me for any amount of time, most folks know that I'm a CrossFit guy. And I used to be a CrossFit guy that would let you know that I did CrossFit and how you should do CrossFit, and that if you're doing anything else that you weren't doing the right thing.
Typical CrossFit guy.
But I'm not that type of CrossFit guy. Now I'm the CrossFit guy. It's like, hey, this is what works for me. Find something that works for you.
Yeah, I remember you were really, really deep into the CrossFit stuff.
Yeah. So I'm still there. You just don't hear about it as much.
Sure.
But, we were in that typical gym atmosphere. And, we were just being guys. And even when the girls were around, that's what she said jokes, and just being inappropriate a lot. And one day I was just talking to a couple guys, and I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than just acting like we're acting. And so we decided, 6 of us decided to get together and just start doing life together and asking those tough questions about, what are you doing when you're by yourself? What are you thinking about? Where are your thoughts? What's holding you captive? What are you doing behind closed doors that you shouldn't be doing? And really tough accountability questions. And at first we were like, oh boy, I don't know if I want to answer all these questions. But as time went on, we started seeing that we were building a community of guys that could be honest with each other and talk about their struggles. And so we actually started at Georgia Blue. And I saw that it was going to gain some traction. I was like, hey, guys, I'm all about supporting restaurants, but I got this room, and y'all can support me at the same time that we're trying to become healthier men. And so we started meeting at Burgers and Blues. And that little side room with the barn doors, we could fit like 30, 40 guys in there.
Yeah, we had a birthday party in there one year.
And we started on Tuesday nights, and there were times that we had 25, 30 guys in that room sitting there telling their stories. And one of the things with our men's group is we're not an advice-giving group. We're a feedback-giving group. And what that looks like is, we're not sitting there saying, you should, you ought to. If you would do this, you wouldn't struggle with that. No, we're not doing that. We're giving feedback. When you shared that about your childhood, this is how it made me feel. And this is where hey, when you shared that, this is where I see God working in your life. We're not a Bible study, but we're no bones about it. We're Jesus followers.
Yeah.
And we're trying to model what Jesus modeled for us by being in community. And we even take it and drill it down to where outside of Tuesday nights, we have groups of 4 guys that do life together. And those are the guys that really know everything about you. But, if I was going to be it, we've sold millions and millions of burgers over the years, right? And if I was going to say that my biggest accomplishment out of that County Line location was not selling burgers, but was creating this men's ministry. And it's now a 501c called The Hanger. And we actually have 4 different places in and around Madison and County, one in Flowood, that meet every Tuesday night. and there's about 75 guys that meet on a regular basis with the hangar, and so that was like probably the most proud thing that I helped start and create out of County Line was that men's ministry.
Man, that's great to hear. I want to come and partake in that. My very first episode of this show, I was telling a story to a guy at the extravaganza this weekend. Somebody asked how this all got started or whatever, and I said my very first episode, it was going to be called Save Jackson Radio because I had the Save Jackson platform. That was the name of everything, so everybody knew. So I was going to call this Save Jackson Radio. And Terry Fant, my pastor at Hickory Ridge, invited me out to a men's retreat at the church that weekend. And I took him up on it on a Friday night. Maybe it was a two-night thing, but I know it was Friday night for sure. And they had a guest speaker. I don't remember call his name, whatnot, but it was titled, the topic was 7 Things That Men Deal With Privately. And, man, you don't talk about Jesus talking to you and talking through you and just all that. I've grabbed a pen and a piece of paper. I've never been one to take notes at church. I grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, my phone, notes on my phone, whatever. I'm trying to keep up with all these things. I had artwork and everything done for this to be the Save Jackson show. Because of that, I scrapped all that. And I said, well, I don't know the name. We'll just call it the Clay Edwards Show. Because I don't want to be married to having to talk about Jackson all the time.
Right.
And that first show was titled The 7 Things That Men Deal With Privately. And I rehashed that a couple weeks ago around the 1,000th episode and went back through it. And the same things, and they're still so pertinent. You know, it's just all the struggles that we deal with. Do you have 6 friends that if you died today, your parents could pick up the phone and know that they'd be the pallbearers for your funeral?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know,
I use that a lot.
Yeah, and that one hits home. That one's easy to hit home for people because, like, you know what? I don't know. If I got 6 people so associated with me that my parents would know they could pick them up, that they'd be expecting the call. They wouldn't even have to call.
Right.
They would call them, you know, and stuff like that. So that's a topic. The men's mental health and spiritual health and physical is something that I've just gotten so in tune with and passionate about. It's why I push the testosterone stuff so hard for men. I was like, guys, this is natural. Your body's supposed to have this in it.
Right.
You know, go get your levels checked. And yeah, I get paid to do it, but I was promoting it as loud as I am now before I was getting paid to do it. It's something I'm really passionate about. I want people to go do that. I want men to take care of themselves. We're going to need you. You know, it's tough out there. Weak men create hard times. And I don't want any more weak men creating hard times for me. I want strong men out there creating good times.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing with this the hangar is both of my sons sit in groups, and they don't sit in my group. They sit in a group with other men that I trust that are going to lead them well, are going to give great feedback, going to be there, and so they have the tools that we didn't have. I mean, because my dad didn't know how. You know, his dad didn't teach him community. Mm-hmm. You know, it was the pull your bootstraps up and get to work, and that's just what happens. And but you know, it's funny because I've been using that. Who are the 6 men that'll carry your casket in my men's group over the past month, a lot. And you know, I was asked that one time, and I said, well, you know, at this point with the community that I've created, I probably have 50 men that would carry my casket. But what I hope is that I have guys that are going to fight over carrying my casket just because of the community and that I've built around this ministry that, you know, so many men are benefiting from. You know, it's just a good feeling to know that there are going to be men fighting over that. And it's a lost feeling to know, man, I don't even know one.
How can people who want to partake in this? Is it open to the public? How's the hangar? How can they come be a part of it?
So the best place to start, and you don't have to call. You just have to show up. That's the biggest thing for any type of community like this is showing up. But we meet at the Mississippi Man in Gluckstadt.
It's a really cool barbershop for those that don't know, over there across from the from Revolution Bike.
Yep. And right across from Gluckstadt Fitness, right next to Big Ten. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-story building in Gluckstadt, right off the interstate. We meet from 6:30 to 8 p.m. every Tuesday, every one. And so that's a great place to start. And then if you're living in a different area than that, we can point you in the direction of another group. But that's kind of like our start. You know, if you're new, wanting to come learn about it, come there. Mississippi Man, 6:30 to 8 p.m., not a.m.
Yeah.
We will not be there at 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday nights.
Y'all need to be listening to the Clay Edwards show at that time frame anyway. So, you know, but yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come tomorrow night. So I'm going to put my presence where my mouth is, and put myself there tomorrow night. Plus, I really like that place, and the owner's really cool guy.
Yeah,
what's his name?
Andrew Moran.
Super nice guy. I like him. I like Ethan. My friend Olivia cuts hair there too. I'm sure she'll be gone by the time the men's event takes over. But neither here nor there. They're good people there. Let's take our last break. Come back with Steven Soller. Land the plane for the day. This is Heavy Hitters with Clay Edwards. We'll be right back. Welcome back in. We got about 30 seconds left here with Steven Soller, Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. Steven, 30 seconds or less, man. What do you define success as?
I define success as for me, it's does my family know Jesus when I leave this earth? That's all I care about.
That's all.
Period. It doesn't matter how many burgers I sell. It's if my family doesn't know Jesus, I wasn't successful.
I love it, brother. Thank you for taking the time to come out here this morning and
Thanks for
talking
having me.
with my folks and talking with me. I truly enjoyed it. We've known you forever, and we've had lots of conversations, but I think this has been by far our best conversation that we've ever had, and just happened to be in front of thousands of people. But that's how life works sometimes. Y'all get out, enjoy Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.